Hey team, Glenn and Mili here. Welcome back to the Building Better Humans Project podcast. It is Mayhem Monday, which means we have
Mayhem
in the building.
Controlled chaos.
I want you to sing more.
Oh, I do sing. I sing in the car. And then you interrupt me by talking.
Unnecessary comment.
That's what we say to the kids all the time.
When we're at home and if one of the boys says something good, the other one will try and bag him out. If they did something well at school or well at footy, or the other will try and bag him out, and we go, unnecessary comment. And they go, what, I'm just saying. And then they'll go, he does it to me.
Oh, God.
We talked about all the negatives. So this week I want to go a bit more back into and forever forward what Building Better Humans Project is about, which is positivity. And there are a lot of people that get positivity from us. I say that with no ego. I just know that from the feedback. So we're now back to addressing those. The negatives, you will never get oxygen again. It's gone. And now we focus on it. And I wanted to address them because, we address negatives as well. We're not pretending life's all good. But lessons learned for this week, I have two. And one I kind of talked about last week is that people don't know us. They just assume, right? And that was based off some of the negative feedback, particularly towards Mili, and then not realising how hard the work that you do is. Where I've literally seen you come home, and we talked a bit about this last week, but where you come home and cry about some of the things that you experience because it's just heartbreaking. And there are kids that love you that get so excited when they know that you're on because you don't always get the same houses. And sometimes it'll be weeks before you see them again, and they're so excited when you come back, and you know that you're making a difference in those kids' lives. So the people that do bag you out or me out, they don't know the good that we do. All the people that say that I'm arrogant have no idea how much I care about other people and how much I give to other people. And I'm not here to try and sell that to you. I just know who I am. That's why I don't get stressed. The other lesson learned was, I guess it's tied in a little bit, there are people that have got it worse. So there's a thing called the power of positive thinking, which everyone's heard about. The power of negative thinking is also a thing in psychology, which suggests that it could be worse, or there are people that definitely have it worse. And it's not to invalidate what you're going through, but what it is to say that this could be worse. We do it really well in the army. Like, you'd be out in bush and you'd be doing hard stuff, and the saying in the army was, it could be worse, it could be raining. There was always something that could be worse. And
that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to hate it at the time, but
Yeah,
now
of course.
I'm like, yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to be in my shell and let this affect me because it could always be worse.
Yeah. And when you're going through a bad situation, just ask yourself, like, how could this be worse? That's the power of negative thinking. Well, this could happen and this could happen. Okay, well, if that hasn't happened, then I'm okay. I'll come out of this. So, and I know it doesn't work for all situations. There are people that say, what about when someone's got cancer? I've been to cancer wards. I've worked in them for a little while, and I've seen people with really good attitudes who get very different outcomes. I'm not saying that they necessarily beat the cancer necessarily, but they just seem to enjoy what's left of their life, whether it be 6 months or 5 years, and sometimes they do come out of it. I just think there's far better options to being positive about what your life holds than to be negative. Yeah. So things could always be worse.
You could always find what to be grateful for.
Yeah, gratitude's a big one.
Rather than what to be hating on and what's so bad in your life.
Lessons learned for you?
Well, mine ties into that feelings episode where I'm like, because everyone's like, oh, subconsciously you feel a certain way, but you can actually rewire your brain. And then I read this quote on Instagram when I was scrolling, and then I looked it up. But it's basically that the brain can rewire itself. Your brain is not fixed through neuroplasticity. The brain can form new neural connections throughout life, learning new skills, forming new habits. Changing negative thought patterns literally reshapes your brain structure over time. So you have that power. You just got to work on it.
It's a growth mindset.
Yeah.
So fixed mindset suggests you've got the amount of intelligence you've got. People go, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I can't change.
This is just how I am.
Yeah, you hate that. Yeah. And whereas a growth mindset says, I have the capacity, the neuroplasticity to learn and grow.
Yeah.
So therefore I can change the situation.
The other thing I learned this week was a new bit of footwork in boxing. So happy about it. So I can't explain it, but that's just another thing I've learned. And
yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think this week, as I said, we'll go around some personal development, and we'll talk about some of the questions that people have sent in. And time permitting, I'll go through a few cards. Now, people that have listened to this show for years will know that every now and then I used to grab cards out and just answer questions myself. So now I've got something to answer them with.
Love.
So it's very exciting. When people say, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, what is that for you and Mili? So I like
say it again.
It says, when people say, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?
Oh, right, yeah.
And so the answer is everything, obviously. They're saying, what is that for you and Mili? We're not really people that fear failure.
No.
So, and I don't mean that to sound like, we're up here and you guys are all down here. No, we're just not I'll throw my hat in the ring and I'll have a crack at stuff, and I've failed at plenty of things. So I've not stopped doing something because of fear of failure. Having said that, there are times where I get a bit overwhelmed by what I'm trying to do, and there are times which we've talked about where we go, who are you to think that you can do that? But I'll still do it anyway. I'll have a crack at it. So the youth housing that we're trying to get into, doing more exploration into youth development and getting that into kids that really need it but can't afford it or don't have families or parents putting them on programs.
It's such a hard one because we're doing everything that we think that we're going to succeed in. So we don't think in that failure mindset, like you just said.
Yeah.
So what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail? We're doing it.
Yeah, because I think it comes
Boxing, that's a hard one. You know, I want to win a world title, and that's
most
a hard journey.
and the chances of you doing that percentage-wise is really low.
Yeah,
So I
especially
guess
at the
that's
age
one.
that I started and the luck experience.
But even
that
in
I
general,
had.
it's just a low percentage game.
Yeah.
And so it's not something that everyone gets to do. So the fact that you're even throwing your hat in that ring, I guess that makes sense. If you were someone that feared failure, you would go, well, I can't do that because, climbing Mount Everest or making the NRL, actually properly making the NRL, it's about the same. 4% of people make it. So
Yeah, I used to want to, when I was young, I used to want to climb Mount Everest because I knew it was a hard thing to do. And then I read Alyssa's book and I was like, nah, I'm slack. Because I can't handle cold and I don't want it that much to be freezing and frostbite and all this. Like, I don't want it that much.
actually, that's a key. When whoever wrote this in, when you're asking yourself a question about whether I want to do something, ask if you want it enough. Because it's easy to put on the rose-coloured glasses and imagine the mountaintop experience, or when I open my business, the doors are going to just knock down because I'm so good at this and that's not the reality. The reality is that you're going to get kicked in the guts more time than you care to remember, and most people who succeed are willing to keep getting up. There's a saying that's success is largely keeping the excitement about what you're trying to do long after the initial inspiration wears off. I've butchered that a little bit, but it's something along the lines of when you first come up with an idea, best idea ever. Now, a year down the track when you're still grinding and you don't feel like you're making any progress, so we're going through some stuff we're working on now that we started a year ago. And we really thought, initially good friends of ours, people close to us, going, this will take 4 weeks, maybe 3 months. Well, 12 months later, we're still going. So
But we're still going.
it does get disheartening, but we haven't given up on it. So, yeah. Do you guys have a big social circle, and do you feel it's important to have one? No, I've never had a big social circle. I have a very tight inner circle, and then I have people that I know that sit outside that I'm happy to catch up with here and there and be friendly with, but I'm not hanging out with. And then, we touch a lot of people through the adventure business, through Building Better Humans, but we're not trying to be everyone's friend.
No.
And don't take that personally.
When I was a teenager, massive amount of people who I used to hang out with, I used to know, we used to party a lot, we used to go to places a lot, we used to go to the beach, we used to go camping, all the things. And then I've moved around a lot in Australia, and so that circle became smaller and smaller. There are some people who I don't speak to anymore, and I don't think that I ever will speak to anymore. And then we're at a part of our lives where we're working so hard on all of these things that we want to work on that there are things that we just don't have time for.
Yeah.
And, so that's why our circle is smaller and smaller.
I think that happens as you get older, but also time is so important. When you're trying to achieve things and you've got young kids playing footy and you've got all this stuff going on and you try and give equal time, for me personally, to give up time outside of that, I have to be willing to sacrifice time with you, time with the boys, time on the business. And sometimes I am willing to do that, obviously. Of course, you need to take some downtime, but most of the time I'm not.
So I don't think that it's important to have a massive social circle, but it's definitely important to have close friends and people who you support and who support you. Just the other day, I was like, I feel like I have no friends.
Yes.
And I was upset because I wanted to go and play squash. And I was thinking about all the people who I could go and invite to play squash. And I'm like, no one's going to go and play squash.
Have you got 2 squash rackets?
No, I'll have to get you one.
Oh, we'll get one. I've not really played squash. Millie tells me she's really good at it.
I've been saying that for a long time.
We'll video it, and if I flog her, we'll post it.
We're not posting anything.
I would say it's important to have the right social circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're hanging around people that make you feel bad, as in, I just don't feel good when I'm around them, but I feel like they're my friend for years, so I have to hang around them, stop doing that. Because then it gets to the point where it's not them making you feel bad, it's you choosing to hang around them.
And
because,
you choosing
because you don't want to say, I had a mate.
Choose that, though.
Yeah, I had a mate like that for years. He just, whenever I caught up with him, which was very rarely, it was always, you'd just kind of leave feeling shitty about yourself because everything you're doing, he'd try and just talk it down a level and then talk himself up. And then I just saw, whenever he messaged me, because we were in the army together and we'd see each other every few months, he would always message me, oh, mate, we should catch up. But it was always the onus was on me to organise it. So I just started going, yeah, mate, we should. But I never organised it and we never caught up. And 2 years went by, no problem. So that's how you can stop doing that. Whereas before that, I felt, he was a bit senior to me. We're in the army. So even years later, you still feel, should do the right thing. And then he would constantly talk you down. And he didn't mean it. I look back now and he didn't mean it. It was just his way of saying things that just, he would always just undermine you a little bit. So anyway.
Yeah. I had a question. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look for it. But, here we go. Which ties into that one. So what's your advice on long-time best friend relationships, 10 plus years, that suddenly end because one friend outed their true feelings and said some deeply hurtful things to the other? How do you move on from that? And I posted this on my social and I answered it. But again, for people who don't follow me on socials and only listen to the podcast, I'll answer it again. I went through that same thing where I was friends with my friend since high school and we were pretty close. And then we had a falling out because we had a massive blow up about something that we disagreed on. I asked her to do something. She didn't want to do it. And then instead of just leaving it there, she kind of called me out on asking too much. And so we had this massive blow up. And then I sat down on my own after that blow up and I reevaluated whether or not I was going to contact her and rekindle our friendship because I still love her. I miss her. But then I thought every time we hung out, she'd use joke, and I will say she's hilarious in other ways. Funny, one of the funniest people that I know. But then she'd use that humor and to belittle me all the time. And so I was like, no, I'm good. But when I was friends with her, every time she did that, I would be like, I'm not going to let you make me feel bad about myself because I know that whatever's going on, that's about you. So I'm just going to look at all the good parts of our friendship and I'm going to focus on those things. But then when we had that blow up, I was like, no. And so I guess you don't really move on because I'm still crying.
But if she rang you now?
Depends on what she say.
Because more to that story, you asked her to do a task, which was pretty simple, and she said no, and then you asked too much. But the same person had asked you for money to invest into a business, lots of money.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, well, hang on a minute.
Yeah, how are you going to ask me for things?
And you were a single mama at the time and all that sort of stuff. It's not
I was fine and I could afford it at the time.
But it's still a lot to ask of someone who's single parenting children.
So... so someone outed their true feelings and said some deeply hurtful things to the other. How do you move on from that? Depends on what they said. Depends on if it's true. Depends on if it's something that you need to work on. If it's not, and they just said it because they're trying to be nasty, it's your choice to feel offended. And then it's, again, your choice whether you're going to be continuing friendship with somebody who actively tries to make you feel something. Again, your choice to feel that. But when you're with somebody who tries to be nasty to you, I'd just... Yeah.
We had a similar question very early on about if a close friend outs their true feelings in the sense that they want to have a relationship with you, and you said you'd been through that. And that's different because that's more about either party feeling embarrassed. The person who said, oh, hey, I'm interested, you can say no. So they're different things. So what they said is probably key. Like if they're really nasty to you, to your partner, to your kids, you're probably not talking to them again, even though it hurts. But otherwise, one thing I've never really tried to do is keep people in my circle if they don't want to be there. I mean, I didn't grow up in one place. We moved around a lot. So I don't think I ever got that thing where, we've been friends for X amount of years. And I've got people, even in the last sort of 5 years, who I've been really good friends with, and then the last year or 2 years have disappeared. I've reached out a couple of times, and then after that, that's where I'll leave it, because I don't want to force you to feel like you need to be in my circle. I'm okay, and obviously you're okay. Otherwise, you would reach out to me. So, it's a hard one to answer, though.
Yeah.
I had a couple here which came through about all of the negatives. I don't know how you guys deal with the BS that comes through, but I do love the way you handle it. Keep doing your thing, please. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say how much I get from them. So that's good. Someone asked, this one, some of the messages are wild, bro. I can only imagine the ones you don't share. Yeah, we we get some hectic ones where you think, can't share that one. It's not that we're worried about the content as such, or worried about answering, it's the content. So.
And then I got this one as well. Don't ever bow down to the pressure of others. I doubt you would, but just know that there are a lot of people who admire your strength, so please keep doing you. People seem to fear strong women. We need more of us, not less.
100.
Facts. We do need more of us, not less. 100%. I do love that.
And we talked about this recently or a couple of weeks ago, where we went out and Mili was dressed very nicely. And I'm sure there are people on social media, particularly ones who send us negatives, who would go, she's validating, looking for attention. But we had a couple of women who we didn't know. One when we were going to dinner, an older lady, and pulled on and said, "You look amazing." And it's such a vibe.
And there was this lady walking towards me, and she was staring at me, and I was looking at her, and she's walking towards me. And again, sometimes it'd be registering as beef. And then I'm looking at her, and then she just looks at me. She's like, "You're beautiful." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." and then we made a joke, like, what if she was talking to you?
She wasn't. And there was two that night, and I thought, that's nice, right?
It is nice. It's lovely when women are nice to other women, because it's really, like, a lot of the time you see women just trying to tear other women down, and it really disappoints me.
It's not a competition.
No.
Like, we're all trying to get through life and have the best experience, I hope, that we possibly can.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. So this one said, has Glenn noticed an increase in female demographics with the podcast? I don't miss a Mayhem Monday potty since it started. Mili is fascinating. I don't know that I haven't looked at the actual stats, but definitely we get a lot more interaction from women. And I've spoken to both clients and friends of mine, males, who go, I've listened to one or two of them and I can't take it, because they actually get offended for us. Because men are naturally a bit more like want to fight over something. Like, I know you put up with that shit, and well, we don't let it get to us. We can't be the personal development people if we're reacting to every dog that barks. I heard a saying years ago which said that you leave small fights for small fighters. Like, if you want to be, if this is how you're validating yourself, that's on you. If your fear of what I'm wearing or what Mili's wearing is us validating ourselves, like, naturally, like, do I like my legs in these little shorts? Yeah, Mili does, so it's fine. So, but should I hide them because it makes someone who skips leg day feel bad? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
And that doesn't really happen so much for men, but that's the same thing. Like, you put people, it's not genetics, your body. There's a certain genetics for all of us, but it's 3 sessions a day most days, particularly when we're in camp. And that includes recovery. Well, I'm not saying we're busting, that Mili's busting 3 times. We're smart when we train, but you don't miss.
No.
You recently said that, it might have been in one of your posts answering one of the NGLs, you said that the gym is my answer to everything, basically. Like, and I'm paraphrasing this, but when I'm upset, go to the gym. When I'm happy, go to the gym. So how
Move your body and train.
How you look's not an accident.
Nah.
So it's earned. So it's just interesting that is how some people are. But I haven't noticed directly. I just think we get a lot more interaction from females. So marry that woman, seriously, bro. I'm working on it. This one said, Mili is gorgeous as a person and in looks. Don't let the negative shit get to you guys. I'm a fan. Keep it real. I agree, obviously. I agree. And again, that's my point. There's lots of positive. We don't share these to make ourselves feel better. We share them because we shared all the negatives, but we get a lot of positives too.
Yeah.
And I love that we get a lot of women that send us positives, which is pretty cool. So
I had this one. Why can't people just be happy for people?
yeah,
Just that's so simple, so beautiful, 100%. Why can't people just be happy for people?
yeah, and that was back to how I finished last week, which is if you don't clap for other people, it will never be your turn.
Yeah.
So this one says, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in your guys', I don't know if that's a word, but your guys' bedroom. I reckon it would be wild. Firstly, that's where all our big fights happen to. See, that's our private space. So if we're going to have words, that's where we have it. Right, let's go. So, but anyway, it is wild. It says, P.S. Mili is my fantasy, not going to lie. Well, mine too. So there's that. But she's spoken for. I've got a few that tied into our the question that came through about how do we feel about open relationships, and that's probably changed over time for us, obviously, and so on. But I've had a few around that. This one, I guess, was a bit tied to it. If you could sleep with anyone else other than each other, who would it be? Have you discussed this, like a celebrity hall pass? They've written fall pass, but I think they mean hall pass, or an actual person. No, we've never discussed that. I actually don't think it's healthy to discuss that, even if it's a celebrity that they're never going to. Like if you say to me, I was going to say if you say to me, like, The Rock would be my celebrity, I'd probably let that one go because I love The Rock. But if it was, if you pick someone, I don't know, I'd naturally feel every time you watch the movie, I'd kind of feel something with that person in it. Like, we watch this movie because it's a good movie, or it's because that's your. I don't know. I just think that's weird.
Yeah.
I understand people have the question, and it's a hall pass because it's never going to happen. You know, like we're never going to meet these people most likely. But it's still, I don't think unless, and I'm not judging people who are in open relationships. 100% do you? That's a different conversation. But the idea that is there someone that you'd be okay with me sleeping with? I just find that a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would just annoy me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so that's a no from us.
Yeah.
We've actually never discussed it, and nor do I think would be.
Can I ask this one?
Yeah.
Because it was, and I did answer this on my socials, but we'll do it again on the podcast. Why are you all? And I've heard this question being said like so many times since social media became a massive thing, and it's like, so the question is, why are you all trying to do the influencer? And they did the inverted commas. So why are you all trying to do the influencer thing these days? Get a real job. We have real jobs.
Yeah, geez, we have 2 or 3 real jobs. Like I'll get up at 3 o'clock some mornings because I've got so much to try and get done.
But also, like I will say, influencer is a real job.
Yeah.
You guys, everyone's like, oh, like I don't understand why people like try and bring down people who want to make their money by being popular online. There are so many people who are popular online who have retired their parents, who have set their children up for such a great life, who have bought, the houses of their dreams, and they've built the lives of their dreams by being popular online, creating a product out of that, and then selling that product to all the people that they're popular online to. I don't understand what's wrong with that. And again, why can't people just be happy for people?
Can I go a step further than that? We do try to influence people in a positive way.
Yeah.
How is that a negative? I want people to genuinely believe in themselves, to have increased self-confidence, self-belief, to say, I know I can do this.
Yeah.
Now, there's 2 trains of thoughts. Let's talk about women, for example. They can look at you and go, before you have kids, I'll wait till you've had kids, because you've even had that comment, and then you go, I've actually got 2. Oh, okay. So there will be people that we feel put down by that, or that's on them. But then I've had other people who are middle-aged, who are older, obviously, than you, who go, oh, my God, like I love everything about her. So they're 2 people choosing 2 different responses to the exact same thing. So that's on them. But what we try to do is put as much positivity out there as possible. We don't write negative stuff. We did a bit of drama around the neighbourhood incident, and it went off, which showed me, lessons learned a few weeks ago, that people love drama. But I don't care. I prefer to get 10 likes than 100 likes if I'm going to put real content out there. I have no problem with influencers.
I don't know if you guys know who Tammy Hembrow is. She made her money by being popular online, and now she has quite a few different fitness products, supplements, things like that. So she's gotten popular online, then she's created products out of that. She's sold it. She's a multimillionaire now. I don't know what her net worth is, but it's a lot. And then she has been like in and out of relationships, so people kind of talk badly about that, which whatever, that's not why I'm saying this. But the thing is that she got out of a marriage and then she's been in the headlines because shortly after that marriage, she got with an AFL star and they've been seen around town like holding hands and doing all that sort of stuff. And people are like, you know, and then for the people who don't know who she is, because the headlines will read, such and such AFL star seen with influencer Tammy Hembrow. And then people see the word influencer and in the comments they're like, oh, some other girl trying to get her 15 minutes of fame with an AFL star. She is worth 50 times more than this person. Yeah. So you guys don't know anything and you're just like passing judgment on this influencer who has made quite a lot of money. Yeah. She has...
Maybe he's trying to make his fame outside of AFL.
Yeah. Like she's got 4 kids who she has all the time. Well, that's what you can see. You don't really know. But who have great lives based on her being an influencer. So yeah, people know nothing about people, but they really hate influencers. But
it's the same as anything else. Like people like to judge people for exactly how we need to live, right? So, as in for how we need to supply for our children. But no one's feeding our kids. No one's paying our rent. No one's doing those things. No one's looking after her outside. If she was just Tammy Hembrow, who no one's heard of, is working, I don't know, in a normal job, no one cares. Yeah. And she's been through a divorce and she's devastated and can't afford stuff. No one cares. Yeah. Because she's not putting herself. But as soon as you put yourself out there, I'm offended by that. What? Because she's making money. Yeah. She's not taking your money. Yeah. You don't have to pay her anything.
100%. So someone even wrote on the comments, oh, she's just after his money. She's worth 50 times more than he is. Like,
that's embarrassing. And maybe, I know we're living a cynical world, but maybe they love each other.
Who knows?
I
don't even care.
But the only reason I say that is because people judge us without ever thinking maybe, maybe they love each other. Yeah. Maybe there's no other reason for this.
Someone wrote, God forbid a girl, what did they write? It was hilarious. God forbid a girl just believe in... Oh, I can't even remember, but it was like romantic love or something like that because she's been in and out of relationships heaps. God forbid a girl just be a hopeless romantic. That was it.
This one was, I only want to share this one because we talked about OnlyFans, I think, recently, or was that on your stories?
Yeah, that was on my stories. So this one was...
We got 2. You got one and I got one. Probably the same person. One? Yeah, mine said, this is mine. I'll start with mine. Would you allow... And as soon as you put that word in front of Mili's name, she's like, what?
Allow?
Would you allow Mili to do OnlyFans? Would you support her if she wanted to do something like that? So I'll say this. I don't allow you to do anything, but when we respect each other in a relationship, of course, we ask each other about how we're going to feel about us doing it, of course. But there's no allow. No. It just blows my mind that a 32-year-old has to be asked permission to do something. Would I support her? Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, but I know why we wouldn't do it, and which you'll talk about in a minute. But if you came to me and said, oh, this is what I'm doing, okay, well, then that's what you're doing. Like, it's not my... And then if I don't like it, I don't have to be in the relationship. It's not like, oh, I have no choice now. This person has decided to do a thing that I don't love, and I just have to deal with it. No, you don't have to. You can walk away. Yeah. So I just don't like the allow thing.
They spoke about this on a radio show that I was driving to work in the morning the other day, and they were saying that this particular woman makes a lot of money on OnlyFans, and she's finding it hard to find a relationship because of her job. And then she was saying that she'd go out on dates with people who know exactly what she does for money, and then all of a sudden, like maybe a couple months in the relationship, they have a problem with the job. And it's like, but you knew what I did before you got in a relationship with me. So maybe it's the fact that they thought that they could get them out of that job, or maybe, who knows. And then she did say she had one piece of feedback from a man who was like, I don't know what to tell my parents what you do. So that's what she's
an influencer.
So that was his issue. The question that I got was...
Next minute, Dad goes, oh, I know who you are.
Yeah. Hey, oh, my God.
Hey, Susie.
Don't check my credit card statement. It was serious question. Would you ever consider OnlyFans? You have a hell body, good looking, and could make some... Oh, no, and people make some serious dollars doing it. And the answer is I definitely have thought about it, and I've thought about doing a, like, hot cooking show where you're like not fully naked. It's not hardcore porn. It's just sexy and cooking because I love cooking. And I reckon
she's very good at it.
And I reckon that would sell well, but I'd never and haven't done it because I'm worried about my boys. Yeah.
But that wouldn't be naked. But more importantly, if people are talking OnlyFans, they're talking sex and they're talking nudity.
Yeah.
And you're not doing that.
No.
And Millie has no hang-ups about her sexuality or her nudity, just to put that publicly out there. But we have boys.
Yeah.
And
I just don't want them to feel a certain way. I don't want them to be judged in a certain way. And it's all very well to raise them to not worry about other people's thoughts and feelings, but when they're so young, they naturally will. So, no, I wouldn't do OnlyFans because I am worried about their mental health and how they're going to be judged on that. And as soon as you say someone has an OnlyFans, people have OnlyFans, but they're not necessarily nudity and sex.
That's not how it started.
Nah. So they could have an only. There was one girl who had an OnlyFans who was following her pregnancy, and she made okay money on it, and it wasn't sexy or anything like that. But as soon as you say OnlyFans, people immediately think one thing. So knowing how children are, they would get 100% bullied if I did that sexy cooking show.
Yeah.
And there'd be screenshots and...
There are athletes sponsored by OnlyFans, so therefore have to have it, and they're not necessarily doing nudity and stuff, but then they're wearing the OnlyFans logo on their sporting gear. Even that, with the boys, you'd probably get bagged, or they might get bagged.
Yeah.
So we don't care about what people think of us. We care about how the boys
would be affected by it.
Absolutely,
yeah.
because as a parent, that's our job. So, yeah. Mine was just more around people saying allow. I just thought it was really, that just sort of shows a very...
So my face just does this thing as soon as, do you allow?
Now I wasn't going to do it, but now I'm going to. But it's more about, it's a very, you might not realise it, and I'm sure this person didn't necessarily mean it, but it's a low-key misogynistic, male dominance, I let my woman do what she's allowed to do. Like, you're going back to the 50s where they weren't allowed to work and weren't allowed to do things. And
couldn't get a bank account without a husband.
Yeah, so the times have changed.
That's crazy.
But having said that,
I would
again...
have not functioned well in that era.
But having said that, if there's anything that you wanted to do that I didn't agree with, I have a right to, obviously, and a choice to put my opinion up about it. Then you decide what you want to do. We've both made conscious decisions around how that affects each of us, and then we also get to decide the next step. And we're very open with all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was an interesting one, and it may not have went the way it went. I was going to go through some of the open relationship ones, but I did have this one. I've changed mindset and been grinding consistently for about 2 years, but keep getting overlooked due to my old ways and behaviours. How can I shake my previous work image? I think all you can do is just keep showing up, going forward as a person that you want to be, as a person that you want to be seen as, and just keep showing up despite what's going on. And that could take time.
It could take time.
Yeah, and that
depending on how long your old behaviours were before, because I found this with Love Your Mum, but with Mum. So I found that she would still see me as the teenager version of me, and it used to kill me because I'm like, I'm not that person anymore.
I'm not that wild kid. I'm an adult.
I'm not that disrespectful little shit who I treated my mum like pretty badly at times. Don't cry.
She loves you.
Don't make me cry.
She does love you.
And I feel like sometimes she would still see that version.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying, but obviously that's on a professional level, and this is a personal one. But
but to go back to just that personal one, but for you guys, Dad passed away, so her husband, kids are still young and in all pretty much teenagers or whatever. So she's the adult version of you now knows that she was going through a lot too.
Yeah, but just keep showing up as the person you want to be now, and don't even. That's the old you. People change.
And can I say, absolute worst case scenario, if that change isn't being accepted, find somewhere else in that industry to go and work and show up as that new version of you.
Yeah.
We get to change. And that was like questions last week around what happened to van life and what happened. I get to choose if I want to do van life or not. And if I wasn't with you, of course I would be doing van life because that's what I was intending to do. But when someone else comes into your life, I can't have this relationship and go, I'm going to have this relationship with you, but just say, no, I'm just going to be out travelling in my van and I'll just see you when that's ridiculous. So
I mean, you could if you want, but then I'd be like,
we would be the relationship. But then
You have fun.
the point is you get to change. This person's obviously making a decision to change. I say good on you and stick with that decision.
100%.
And then if it's not being accepted in the workplace, communication is always key. Then talk to people. Say, hey, I've made a lot of changes. Here's evidence of the last 6 months, and I just want that to be seen. And if that's not seen, then you move on. So
I got this question. In what ways has life shaped you into the woman you are today? I've been through so much and I feel like I let it all get to me. I hate making excuses for my life, but I catch myself doing it all the time. And I did answer this on the thing. I'll say it again. That first bit, in what ways has life shaped you into the woman today? Every single thing. Like every struggle, every hardship, everything that you've had to overcome. Like this person who just asked that question, I'm this person now and everybody sees me as that person. Continue to show up as that person, the person that you are now. Everything shapes you into the person you are today, and it's up to you whether you're going to show the best of you or whether you're going to show the worst of you, which ties into the next bit. I've been through so much and I feel like I let it all get to me. I hate making excuses for my life, but I catch myself doing it all the time. Ask yourself put yourself in the future, and if in 20, 30 years' time, if you're going to look back on your life and be happy and proud of the story that you've allowed to carry through your life, then continue that story. But if you want to look back on your life and go, that's my life story, change and do that,
I think that's the key. I think the key is to understand that you are allowed to change, you have the capacity to change, and the only thing stopping you is your decision to change. So reward yourself on the decision to change, because all of those pieces of us is what adds up to who we are now. So I like who I am now. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. It doesn't mean there's not things I'm trying to change, but I like who I am. So therefore, it's hard for me to go back and hate even the worst things that happened to me, as in a sexual assault incident with an uncle, or whilst I never, if you could take that out of your life, you would, but it also at some level, some way brought me to here. Because I think about life like this. Every single decision, every single action that we've taken and not taken, decision we've made and not made, if you think about of the whole 8 to 12 billion people that have lived in our lifetimes, has brought you and I together. That's wild to think about.
Yeah.
If you it's that movie Sliding Doors. If you change one or two of those things, we don't cross paths.
Yeah.
So if you're happy with where you are now, then all of those decisions, good and bad, are what they are. If you're not happy with where you are now, then think about that in the sense of I need to start making different decisions and taking different actions until I can look back and say I'm happy.
That bit where, I catch myself making excuses for my life, and I hate making excuses for my life, but I catch myself doing it all the time. You don't want to go through your whole life having excuses as your story.
Yeah, and we know people that do that.
Yeah, so then you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to go, that was my life story, is I carried those hardships throughout my whole life.
Like an anchor.
And that was my story. Whereas if you decide to stop making the excuses and change and go and do positive things in your life, then you're going to get to the end of life and be like, oh my God, that was my life story.
Yeah. That person in particular, for your question, I would encourage to go and find stories of people that have overcome extreme hardships and then got a different outcome, just as an encouragement, not as a comparison to yourself, but because I look at some of the kids we deal with and I read some of their stories and I think, man, how are they going to make it? They've been through so much, but some of them will make it. And we're not for a minute to sit here and go, oh, just pretend it's all good. No, it was really shitty what you went through and it never should have happened to you. But what can you do going forward? Because you're 14 or you're 16 or you're 18. You don't want to be telling this story at 40, 50 and 60.
Yeah.
So, you can make change. So go and find some stories of people that have done that. So this question was, what have you guys learned about relationships, both intimate and day-to-day, since being together? I'm going to say communication.
Yeah.
I've learned, I think I'm a pretty good communicator, and obviously on a professional setting I can stand on a stage and I can command rooms and I have a certain strong presence, but I've had to really relearn how my words, how my actions, your facial mannerisms, the passive aggressiveness, how all of that has an effect on someone that you're really close to and you don't want to have that. And you can say, I didn't mean it, or I was joking, or it was a throwaway line, but if you're seeing a visual affect on someone because of things that you're doing, that's on you to change that. And that ties back into a different version of, being responsible for our own feelings. Yes, Millie's responsible for her own feelings, but I know if I do a certain thing and it really annoys her or makes her angry or makes her and I know that, then I should change that. So I've probably learned the importance of communication. And that's not just for intimate relationships. That's for relationships with the boys. I've had to learn a lot more about how I communicate. And then that's helped me understand communication. When all of these questions that come through, I say to people, it's all about communication. It's all about communication. At work, at home, it stops you getting in fights in bars for all you blokes out there. I remember years ago, I was actually pretty good at this when I was younger, better than I thought. I wasn't much of a drinker. And we went out and there was these guys trying to pick fights once in Toowoomba, outside a pub that doesn't exist anymore. And it was called, I think it was Tequila Willie's or something like that. Anyway, I was out with a mate of mine, Dave, and another mate of mine, Rob, who's no longer with us. And Rob can fight. Dave can't. Not really. No offence, Dave. He's a good mate. And there's me. And this guy was going around trying to pick fights, and he walked up and kissed me. I think he kissed me grabbed my hand and kissed me, or maybe kissed me on the cheek, and trying to start a fight, particularly back in the 90s. And I just said to him, and this is not actually true, but I just said to him, I've been kissed by better looking blokes than you. Then he kissed Rob. Well, that didn't go as well. And then there was a fight, and then he had mates behind him, and then it turned into an all-in brawl. Whereas if Rob had said something similar to me, it kind of would have diffused it. So, it's communication. That's what I've learned since about relationships.
Yeah, I'll say same. And also I'm learning to, still be close physically when I'm annoyed at you.
Yeah.
You just want to hug me. I'm like, get away from me.
I can feel her skin crawl. But
I'm getting better at it.
And way better.
Yeah, I know.
Way better.
So I'm meeting you in the middle on that one.
We had a little thing this morning where I messaged Millie something exciting because we're going out somewhere nice for lunch, so we like to go. And you didn't answer me straight away, which is very unusual. You normally answer me straight away. And then she gets home and says, I was stuck at this roadworks for 7 minutes. I said, okay, so you could have answered my text. And then...
Did you see my reply?
Yes.
And I sent that when we left home.
Yeah, but I was driving.
Yes, I was also driving. So see, that's my point.
It's not about who's right or wrong. I want to tell what the point I'm trying to make is that initially annoyed you because you're saying you're upset or you're angry with me. And I wasn't angry, but I'm definitely needy with you, and which a lot of people wouldn't realise about me.
You're super duper.
Yeah, and then it was. I can't remember. You said something. I don't want you to be angry with me all the time. Oh, you said you think I do it on purpose. I said no, it's not what I'm saying at all. So this is what we've learned in communication. I diffused my level a bit because I realised it was making you feel like I was saying you're doing it on purpose, and that wasn't really what I intended.
Yeah, because you said, and you ignored me.
Stop for a second. Also, what I'm trying to highlight here is that what we've learned about relationships is that I learned to lower my wording or how I did it. And then you went upstairs and then you had a shower or whatever, and then you called me. She actually called me and I thought something had happened. So I come running up the stairs because I think she's fallen over like it sounded. And all you said to me, you just kissed me and said, I don't want you to feel ignored by me. So we both kind of gave ground. But what we could have done and what a lot of people do and what we've definitely done in the past is, well, I was driving and you do the same thing when you're driving, and then you will go upstairs and be annoyed and I'll sit downstairs and be annoyed. And that's what people tend to do. And then it escalates. And now all of a sudden the nice lunch we're looking forward to may not happen. Or definitely in the past you would have said to me, I'll just go on my own.
I was just about to say that. I'm still going to that lunch. I don't know what you're doing.
So am I, but I'm sitting on a different table.
The staff, because we always go there and be like, you guys are...
I'm going to ask for someone to play cards with me. But yeah, that's what I've learned is communication. And I'm seeing active versions of that rather than both of us being angry. And the funny thing is when you are angry about stuff, you're both wrong because you're just reading it your way, putting your slant on it. And there might be validity in that, but it's not 100% right, but you hold on to it.
Yeah.
And then the longer that goes for, the harder it is to step back from. And we're very competitive and I wouldn't say we're aggressive, but we're fighters. So, yeah, that's what I've learned. Yeah. So communication at work, at home, in your personal relationships, I would absolutely encourage that for anyone watching. We'll do a couple more. Would either of you consider writing an autobiography?
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Not to be full of myself, like that person said, that I'm full of myself. But I've had a pretty interesting life.
Hectic. in some ways.
It's just been like, yeah.
We've often said that, and this is something that's probably hard for people to comprehend fully, but we've often said that right now, if you wrote a book, it would have to be with pseudonyms, and because Mili's been through some hectic stuff. But then you've said, when I'm 80, I'm not going to care, and I'm just going to write it.
I reckon.
And it would be a fantastic telemovie. Not even a movie. It would have to be a series of 4 or 5 episodes.
I was talking to a relative of mine who's actually writing a book on my mother. Shout out to James. My mum's life has been really, really interesting. And since I was like a teenager, I used to say, Mum, you should write a book on your life. And now a book is being made on her life. So I got a phone call from him to ask about my bit of her life. And growing up in PNG and all the things, and then coming up, being in Australia, being a boxer, etc., etc. And he was like, you should do a Netflix movie." But I'm like, you don't even know the half of it. You don't even know, and it should definitely be a Netflix movie.
If he knew the other half, he wouldn't leave our house. He'd be locked in on that story.
Yeah, so I reckon I will.
What would you call it?
Mayhem.
I knew you were going to say that. I've thought about writing a book for years because people have said the same thing to me, and I wanted to call it Unbroken, because I've had a lot of things that happened early in my life that I think were intended to break me, whether it be from parents, uncles, some intentional and some that would be expected to break you. In the early days of the military, back when I joined anyway, they would try and break you down to rebuild you, and they do break you down to a certain extent. They try and get rid of all the bad stuff, but they break a lot of people in the process. And I've always prided myself on the fact that I am unbroken. I will fail, I will fall over, I will lose things, I will lose people, I will get kicked in the guts, and I will not be broken by people, which is what people see as arrogance when I get those few messages around arrogance. But what people who've been through some shit know is, no, that's resilience.
Yeah.
That's proper resilience. And then that ties into this next question, which was, what does resilience look like in your day-to-day life? And for me, it's just about get up, dress up, and show up no matter what's happening. And Mili can absolutely attest to this for me. No matter what's happening, I always show up. You've said to me, you are so consistent. So if I say we're going to do a thing and I think it's important to us and the future and the business, no matter if we've had the biggest fight in the world, I still get up and do those things because I know that the fight will move on and I will have wanted to have progressed like I said I was going to in the thing. So yeah, the resilience to me is just get up, dress up and show up no matter how you feel. And people say they'll even on the bad days, I say especially on the bad days because it's easy to do it on the good days.
For sure.
It's easy to do it when you're motivated, inspired, but when life's kicking you in the guts, when we went through a phase recently where some money went out of an account and we were waiting for some other money to come in and I was going away on trips and I was like, geez, the bank balance is getting a little bit tight. And then you were like, oh, I might need to get a second job. And we weren't joking. And I'm like, no, you're not getting a second job. You're already working enough hours now. And then all of a sudden, and not a huge amount, but a few $1,000s came into the bank that was over, or the pressure gets taken off. So that's the pressure you get put under sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't live lives where we get a standard weekly wage. And no disrespect to people who do, I massively admire you. But for me, I put myself under such ridiculous stress sometimes that's resilience. Get up, dress up and show up no matter what.
Yeah, same.
And for those people listening, I'm considering, and I've only just mentioned this to Mili, putting together a 4-week program with us. She's never done this with me before, but I used to do these a lot. I haven't done one this year. And I'll put a link in our bio and I'll put it on our socials. But the idea will be a 4-week program where we will run some video classes that I'll already preset for you, but then we'll do some Q&As with you for 4 weeks. You can come, there'll only be 20 people maximum on this program. It'll be cheap, like $400, I'm thinking, and then you get to sit with us for 4 straight weeks and build something that to move you forward through all these challenges and ask these sort of questions in real time and let us answer. I've done this so successfully in the past. I've got no doubt that adding you into the mix will be massive because Mili offers a whole different. We've done a couple little ones with some real estates and that a little while back, and so they were private ones, but that really worked.
Yeah,
and people want both of those opinions. So that's something I'll consider. Which, but what's for you day-to-day resilience?
Same, because that's how we are. You know.
Yeah, there's one other that came through, and I know who this is from because I asked the question, and it was a friend of ours, but. How do you respectfully tell a parent that they are the reason their child is acting out and progressively becoming more defiant? The cure is for them to make the child feel loved, wanted, seen, heard and worthy. However, history says this parent doesn't have the capacity to see it that way. So I then my friend or our friend messaged me and said, that was actually me that asked that question. So this is whilst it come from an NGL. And then he just gave me a bit more around that. And I don't want to out him, obviously, but basically blended families. And so the kids from mum's side are having some issues with mum. And then he's getting on really well with the stepdad, which is great. That's really cool. And they've had meetings and talked about it. But the mum's not seeing how her behaviour is making the children worse, these two children in particular who are having some issues. And the reason they're acting out is that they're not being validated. As kids absolutely need to be validated. They need to, as he said, feel seen, loved, worthy and heard. And so this is going to sound very cliche, but my only response I can give to that, and he already knows this because it's a few weeks past, it's communication again. Or you can't change people, unfortunately. All you can do is try and influence people. The only person we have 100% control over is ourselves, and everyone else, even the closest person to you, you can influence only. That's all you can do. And so in this situation, you can try and influence, and my advice would be influencing through the stepdad because you have a good relationship, but it can never come from you because you are always going to be a source of aggravation because you're the ex. And on her side, she's going to feel judged by you, or maybe she still harbours some resentment at you for the relationship. Who knows? There's all that stuff going on. So you can influence that, but that's all you can do. And then on your side, when the kids are with you, and at the moment the kids don't want to go back to mum, was what I was told, long as they're feeling all those things you said, seen, felt, loved, heard, worthy, validated with you, that's all you can do.
That's such a hard one, eh?
It's so hard.
That is such a hard one.
Yeah, because I've also seen situations where one parent has said something about the other parent, which I know not to be true because I've known both parents, and because we sway things a little bit to our side. I'm not suggesting that's what's happening here, but it could be. And so, but the clean answer is just communication. And if you can't have that sit-down communication with them in a really relaxed environment, then you need to try and influence somehow through the stepdad who you have said, he said they had a really good conversation around it and he understood it. Well, now you can maybe help give him some tools because this person definitely has more tools than the stepdad has.
Yeah.
Because they're in that space. So here's my point to what we talked about last week. We get some really good questions.
Yeah.
Those are good questions.
Those are good questions, yeah.
And they're all over the place and there's nothing off topic, but this is the Building Better Humans project, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I finish with some questions for us off our cards? We've only got a few minutes, so we'll be really, really tight on these.
All right.
I bought a few, but we'll have to save some for next time. So I bought this.
You're putting me on the spot here because I don't know what these questions are.
Oh, yeah, she hasn't read these. Well, I kind of like thinking on our feet. So these are simple ones, really simple in the format. It says, what if you suddenly found yourself not needing any sleep at all? What would you do with the newfound time? So imagine if you sleep 8 hours a day, what if we, as a human, we just didn't need to sleep anymore? What extra would you do in that 8 hours?
So much.
Right?
Like
You'd probably fit 2 more training sessions in.
Probably, yeah.
We'd work.
We would work. I was just about to say I would work extra. Yeah. I would work extra. We would study extra. I would train extra. And is it a question like no humans need it? So like the kids don't need sleep?
Well, it just says you specifically, I guess. But if you just didn't need to sleep.
Okay, so I would work those shifts where the kids are asleep. And then I would spend all my awake time with the children when they're not at school.
Yeah.
And
I
because,
like that.
you know what I mean? Because it's like sometimes on a Saturday and Sunday, like I've been rostered and I have to work.
Sometimes we want to give the kids days off school. Here's an interesting thing. I don't believe in giving kids days off school per se because I feel like the government says they should be at school and you want them to learn and all that, even though I have been a bit flexible as the kids grew up, as in when my kids grew up. But when we went to the Redcliffe State High the other day, they said that they accept kids having 5 days off school for no reason whatsoever really per term or 20 a year. And I thought, I actually like that number. That's a good number because when you have to work all weekend, sometimes you want them to stay home and we'll go to the skate park on a Friday or a Monday or so that would be cool.
Yeah.
This one here, what if, they're all what if questions, you could pick 1 year of your life and live at that age forever. What age would you choose?
I'm going to choose now.
That's an interesting one, and here's why. I thought you'd say 21 because that's what most women will say, 21. And then, but for me, either right now or 51, like when I met you, but it's just you living at that age. So, and then if you were 21, if you'd pick that, and I'm like 53, well, that would never work for us because you could still change and develop and grow if you lived at that age forever. They're not saying you can't.
Did you have this conversation with Marley? Because he asked me that in the car the other day.
Oh, no.
And then he said exactly what you said when we've had this conversation in the past. We haven't asked these questions, so that particular question, but we have had this kind of conversation because Marley asked me if you could be this age forever and never die, would you do it? And I said, yeah. And then he said, but then all of us would die and you'd have to live through that. And we've had that conversation before. So I thought that you spoke. And I'm like, you're 10, baby. How do you think like this?
I'm Team Marley on that.
Yeah.
Because the other side of that, this is a different question, is if you could live forever, would you? But if no one else around you lived forever, you've got to live through all the death of your parents and then your kids and then your grandkids. And then you're starting to talk about people that you don't really know, but that are coming along. So, and that would be weird. But also, I think there'd be no sense of urgency to do things. So if I lived at, say, 53 years of age with my physical health, which is pretty good at the moment, and I could live like this forever, 200 years, 300 years, 400 years, what's the onus for me to get up and do something tomorrow? I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't need to. Like, hey, you're going to start that business? Yeah, maybe. Because you don't need to. Whereas when you know you've got a finite amount of time becomes really important. You stop wasting it. I reckon I'd procrastinate like a mofo.
I don't know if I would, only because I like to buy expensive stuff, like as in travel and expensive dinners and things like that. So
if you're this person right now forever, your capacity to earn is a lot better forever.
Yeah, I
because
guess.
you've got experience and you know, like your capacity to earn at 21 compared to 32 is very different because you don't have life skills, if you're at this age forever and you collect another 100 years worth of experience and looking and feeling exactly how you feel now, but this is changing, you'd always have the capacity to earn money. You'd probably get smarter at it. I reckon I'd procrastinate, if I'm honest, because there'd be no sense of urgency.
Yeah.
So
my only sense of urgency would be I want to get to where I want to be quicker.
You'd be the first world champion for 50 years straight. What if you could give all human beings one thing? What would you give them?
That's so hard.
It doesn't have to be a physical thing. I knew this answer immediately for me. It was self-confidence, self-belief.
Mine would be similar to that, but the capacity to not allow other people's opinions to change the way that you live. Because that's such a big thing for people. And we've spoken about this on this podcast before, and I live by it. It used to be what I preached day in, day out as part of my online PT. I'd give you the ability to not allow other people's opinions to change your life, because then there'd be so many people doing such amazing things because people are held back by what are they going to think?
Yeah. I've got two more, and they're quick ones. What if you could snap your fingers and become a child again for just 24 hours? How would you spend that day?
With my dad.
Yeah. I'd do all the things. I'd be kicking footies and swimming. Because you know what? Kids' lives are really hard. Like, you know, our boys are 10 and 12, and some things just, they'll cry about things that we go, that's not a big thing. But to them, it's everything in that moment. And if you could go back now and just say, you know what, just embrace being a kid. Because as you get older, you realise being a kid was actually easy. You didn't have responsibilities. You didn't have, if you're doing all right, not some of the kids that we've worked with, sadly, but I would just kick footies and swim and do all the things.
I'd go back to, obviously I'm a child, so my dad's alive. So I'd go to, Dad used to take us, and Mum used to take a whole bunch of us to Naura River in Alotau, where I'm from. And because he managed a tyre shop, so he'd get tubes from the tyres, and then he'd put us all on the tubes at the start of the river or like a little midway, and he'd cook a barbie down the end of the river, and we'd just float all the way down. Beautiful, honestly. And then
I'll do that now.
I know. And then we spend the whole day swimming in the river, eating food, just having a time. That's exactly what I'd do.
Yeah, I love that. And for you listening, think about these as well. I love this one. What if you could leave a legacy behind for today? What would you like to be remembered for tomorrow that you did today? So this isn't what legacy do you want to leave behind, just each day. So if you could say, what's my legacy for today that you would like to leave behind? I don't know what the answer to this just yet. I'm trying to think about it. But what I love about it is the idea of just not wasting a day. So for me, I'm just thinking off the top of my head because I hadn't pre-thought this. My legacy for today, I would hope, would be how much I love and respect you. Because we're doing a podcast together, I'm going to Kilimanjaro tomorrow. I've been home 4 days. So if my one legacy for this day today, and it'll probably be the same tomorrow because it's the last 2 days we get together, it would be that you are left with no uncertainty about how I feel about you. And I wrote to you today, so I send Mili a message every day, and at the time I'm recording this, it was day 246. We're day 246. Where is it? And I just wrote, I don't know where it's gone. And I just wrote about basically that 246 days straight of telling you how much I love you, and 246 days, where is it? Here it is. I wrote, do you mind if I share?
No.
All right. I call these Mili Mayhem, because that's Mili's middle name, Exotic Beauty. Day 246 of 225. I wrote, I love you. It's as complicated and as simple as that, because love really is both. 246 days of telling you with all the words I know. 246 days of showing you through actions, through change, through devotion that I adore you. I don't know what it will take for you to fully believe me, to know that this is my truth, that I have no interest in anyone else, not now, not ever, not in this lifetime or the next. This is love for life, and I know it with every fibre of me. One day you'll believe it, and if it takes another 246 days or the next 30 years, I'll still be here for all of it. Don't make me cry.
Love you.
But that would be my legacy.
Love
So
you,
what's
love
your
you.
legacy?
I don't know now.
I just love the idea, though, for the concept for you guys watching and listening to think about every single day. If you get to the end of the day and we talk about gratitude diaries and all that sort of thing, but what if you thought, what was my legacy from today? And it could be, like, while I'm away, it'll be that the boys spent the day at the skate park. So the other morning I took the boys to the skate park before school, which is a bit of an effort for us. And I said yes, and they were very excited. And I said to Mil, I want to do that because I'm only here for a few days and I want that. So on that day, that would have been the legacy that I left, if nothing else. And I took the drone out, which I'm not very good at using because I haven't used it for a while. And we just played around and we spent an hour and a half there, and they had McDonald's for breakfast and I dropped them to school. That's a pretty cool start to the day when you're that age. And it didn't really throw us out that much. Like, it was not that you had to go to work, and I just wanted to do something for them, because otherwise I'll just sit there and work. So for that day, that was my legacy. For today, my legacy is about my time with you, how much I love and adore you, and that will be my legacy tomorrow too. And then once the next day, I'll be in Africa, so it'll be my legacy that day. I'm sure will be about what I'm giving to my clients as they go on this pretty epic climb of Kilimanjaro.
I love that, hey. Love that question.
Yeah.
I guess, obviously, same, because we're spending these next 2 days together before you go away. And then on the days that I work with the kids, my legacy would be that I hope that you guys remember me as part of a good thing in your life.
Yeah.
Positive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really tough with those kids, and then you can physically and mentally and emotionally get beaten down by it all. But when you think about your legacy is, I just want to be a positive in this piece of your life, whether it's for today or whenever, however many times you see them. So if everyone watching this or listening to this, every single day when you fill out your gratitude diary, if you do that sort of thing, just ask, what was my legacy for today? I just think it's I've never heard that before. I literally found that this morning. I thought, what a strong question.
The other day, one of the kids, and it's really faint here.
Oh, did you get a photo?
Yeah, I took a photo. But she, just before she got driven to school by the other youth worker who was on, she came, because we had a really good morning. She's an awesome kid, hey. And she came and drew, she's like, before I go, I want to draw something on you. And she drew like a little smiley face. You can't see it. But she drew a smiley face with a big grin, tongue poking out, and it was like teeth. And it's like a smiley, laughing face, but tongue poking out, cheeky, which is exactly her. And she's like, I want you to get that tattooed. So I took a photo of it. I'm definitely considering it. Yeah.
I actually would.
Yeah.
Because it's a part of you remembering this part of life, which who knows where life goes. And that girl, and I know you've read her story, and it's pretty hectic. And yet, so just such a good sign.
Yeah.
So. And I reckon that's a good way for us to end the podcast. Think about the legacy that you leave every single day. And if you wrote that down every night, you would start to live your life more intentionally and not just
more
accidentally.
positively, and less negatively. Like even to all the negative people, like you're messaging us negatively. Is that what you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, surely not.
Surely not, sis or bro or whoever.
That's it, team. We on that note, we are out.
Have a good week.